It's been some time since we looked at the latest HACS components, so today we are going to look at three of them. One is the line graph that you can see here on the screen, then we have a periodic minimum and maximum helper, and also one nice card that will give you device details, or so-called device cards. We'll start in a couple of seconds. Let's start with the first component, and this one is this here. It is actually a helper, minimum and maximum value helper. What it does, it allows you to track the minimum value of something or maximum value of something. For example, if you have a solar panels, you can use this to track the maximum value of your solar output. And then you can run either automation, for example, every night, every week, every month, or every year to reset that data. So the data stays persistent until you manually or through the script or automation reset it. Let's dig into the installation. The link to this component will be as always down in a video description, so check out the link down below. Thanks to Andrew for creating this component, and if you do end up using and liking like I'm using and liking the component, don't forget to give at least a star to the repository so the author knows that this is an awesome component and that more people should see it. Of course, you can also sponsor the projects in other way. For example, this one here has a Buy Me Coffee link. This component is still not part of the official HACS repository. Because of that, you either need to click on the link, check that your instance URL is correct, and then click Open Link. This will pop up the screen that the component will be installed as a custom repository. Or as always, you have a manual way. Copy the URL that is also, as I said, down in the video description. Go to HACS, three dots, Custom Repositories, paste the URL, select Integration as type, click Add, then in search bar type Periodic for Periodic Minimum and Maximum. Click on it, click on Download, Download, and we now have to restart our Home Assistant. Now that the component has been activated and Home Assistant restarted, you need to go to Settings, Integrations, and click on Helpers. Here, select Create Helper, scroll down to Periodic Minimum and Maximum, and create new helper. For example, here I want to track the maximum temperature of my Synology. Since Synology is tracking the temperature of the device and disk, you can add this to any or all of the components. Here I'm going to just check the maximum temperature of the device itself. Let's call this one Synology 920 max temperature. This will be the entity that I'm tracking. I will be tracking not minimum but maximum value, and click on Submit. Select an area if you wish, and it's really recommended that you start if you are not already adding areas to each and every device or entity. Finish, and that's pretty much it. You can now edit anywhere you want on your UI. Click on Edit. For example, let's edit here, plus sign, select time, and select Synology 920 max temperature. This is the entity or the sensor that we just created, or helper. Here you can see the current maximum temperature. Each time the temperature rises above this value, it will be saved to this helper. If the temperature falls down, you will always have the last or the largest or the maximum temperature recorded for that entity that you're tracking. Click on Save, and that's pretty much it. But as I said, this entity will stay until you manually or through the automation reset it. For example, I've shown you here, this is the freezer maximum temperature. Let me show you how the values changed. If you look at the history, select, you can see that it started with the maximum minimum temperature, it is -20, then started slowly rising up, because this is the temperature that was recorded, 16 degrees, 15.8, then 15.6, which is the current maximum freezer temperature that was ever recorded. And that means that if I, for example, have failure, power failure in the freezer, and the temperature does rise above certain temperature, this one will be persistent and will not change unless I manually press the reset button. And how do you do that? Let's go to Developer Tools, Actions, and you have new action called Periodic Minimum Maximum Reset. You can select the entity. For example, in this case, this is the Synology 920 max temperature. If I click on Perform Action, this value will be reset and it will once again start tracking each temperature if it's higher or lower than the previous one, depending if it's minimum or maximum. Once again, if you do end up using this awesome component inside your Home Assistant, don't forget to give it a star on the GitHub repository. And since I do love tracking statistics and seeing how the data changes, how one data correlates to the other, this is a really brilliant component for me. So, I've been tracking my home, my freezers, minimum, maximum temperature, and also trends, and realized this is basically a real world data science problem. Brilliant helps you get smarter every day, with thousands of interactive lessons in math, science, programming, and data analysis. What I love the most is that it's not just videos. You're solving problems, playing with concepts, you're actually using your brain. I started with their Exploring Data Visually course, and suddenly my obsession with this smart home data made more sense. It's like a fun brain workout, but it's also super useful. They've got updated courses on everything, from algebra and calculus to how large language models work. But if you like finding patterns, like I clearly do, the data and programming tracks are a great place to start. Try Brilliant completely free for 30 days at www.brilliant.org/beardythinker, or just scan the QR code and you'll get 20% off your annual subscription. Now let's check out the second component. Once again, we are going to play with the data, this time visually. And this is this energy line gauge. For example, it can look like this. What does this card allow you to do? It allows you to visually represent your energy usage data, for example. If you have entity that is tracking the overall household energy consumption, and also entities that are tracking individual device power usage, this is awesome component for you, because what you can do is create a single bar gauge, and then inside that bar gauge that represents your overall home usage of electricity, you can see each of the component and its impact on the overall home power usage. Really awesome component, and also great for anybody planning to introduce to its home solar energy. So let's get started with the installation. Before we begin, let's say thanks to Tomer, the author of this component, and give it a star on its GitHub repository. Now let's go to documentation, search for the URL, click on it to copy it, and by the way, yes, as always, the URL will be also in the video description. Let's go to HACS, 3 dots, custom repositories, paste the URL, select dashboard, click add, close this, type gauge for energy line gauge. Click on it, click on download. The latest version of this component is version 2.1.2. Download and reload should be sufficient. Now go anywhere you want to add this component, overview HACS in my case, click on pencil, and anywhere in the screen where you want to add the component, click on plus sign, select energy line gauge, and then you have to select entities. The first entity that you want to add here is the entity that is tracking the overall home power usage. For example, this one here. Give it a title. You can also add subtitle if you want. You can specify the minimum and also maximum value. For example, currently it is 100 watts. For example, let's say that 150 watts is the maximum that the home is using at any given time. Or you can leave this empty, so it will be always tracking in the graph the maximum power. You can specify the unit, for example, watts, precision, if you want to add decimal spaces, and you can also specify minimum value. You can hide the legend, and you can also show statistics. If you want, you can also tick the box to track untracked consumption. For example, what this is. If you are tracking power usage of your home, and you are tracking, for example, additional 5 devices or 5 power consumption sources, there is still a gap between those 5 devices and overall power usage. Then this should be this untracked consumption. You can enable it or disable it. Also give it a name. You can change it and give it an icon if you want. I will disable it. Interaction can be tab behavior, hold behavior, and double tap behavior. Those can be used to, for example, guide you to a specific tab, specific dashboard, or to, for example, energy panel. Let's close this, and let's now add specific entities. Let's delete the examples from here. And these are the 2 entities that I've added now. Elgato Keylight Air, which is the light that is shining above my desk now, and Entertainment Room Power, which is the power usage of one speaker, I believe. Click on Save, And this is how it looks. Out of 100 watts of current power consumption, we have this Elgato device using this much power. If the entities that are added to the entities list are currently not using any power, those will not be visible on the list. Only devices that are actually drawing any power will be in this line. And that's it. Now let's check out the last component for today. This one is the device card. This card will give you everything around one device on the card inside your UI. This is not the card that you will be using for every single device in your home, but maybe there are some specific devices where you want to have everything from that specific device inside your UI. Depends on what this device is. In this case, for example, this is SwitchBot Blind and Tilt. We can see here the name, SwitchBot Blind Tilt. We have control of the card, we can lower it, stop it or raise it. We have information from the light sensor, has the calibration been done or not, the current battery state and also Bluetooth signal, because these here are all the entities that this device is providing. So let's get started with the installation. As always, I will start by saying thanks to the author by clicking the link in the GitHub repository. Now let's check out the installation. The documentation for this card is very well written, but I will not be going into that one. Instead, we will be looking at the installation and how to activate it inside our Home Assistant. You can either press this blue button that should automatically open the Home Assistant and also try to install custom repository, or copy the link, which will be also down in the video description. Inside Home Assistant, click on HACS, 3 dots, Custom Repositories, paste the link, select Dashboard as a type, click Add, close this one, type in Device. For the device card, click on the link, press Download, and download the latest version, which at the time of the recording is version 0.8.0. Click on Reload and that's it. Since this is not a backend component or integration, reload is sufficient. Then go to the Overview, Edit, go to anywhere you want to add this card. For example, let's add it here. Click on plus sign, type in Device or Device Card, and just select the entity that you want to add. Depending on the device itself, you will see all the entities that is available for this specific device. Let me select one with more entities. For example, this one here, this is the SwitchBot Hub. We can see the information, the full name of the device, the temperature, humidity, and also light level, plus illuminance. But there are also some additional things that you can customize. For example, content. You can add title. You can specify the preview count. Preview count tells you how many entities will be available before you click on Show More link. For example, if we type in 4, we will see 4 items, but if we select 2, we will only see 2 sensors available. After that, you will need to click on Show 2 More to show other entities or sensors. If you want to exclude controls, configuration, sensors, or diagnostics, what is the order for each of the sections? For example, sensors can be number 1, then we have controls, then we have configuration, and the last one is diagnostics. If you want to use entity pictures, since the entity doesn't have picture, we cannot do anything here. If we want to hide the model, so the model is not visible, or if we want to use compact layout. You can also select entities that you do not want listed here. For example, let's remove illuminance. And now we have a light level, humidity and temperature, but the illuminance is removed. And the last one is interactions, where you can specify the tap action, double tap action, and also hold action. If you want this to be interactive, so that you can go in either submenus, different dashboards, etc. etc. Click on Save, and this is how card looks. We can expand it to see more details, and if we click on any line, we also get information about state class, last run success, unit of measurement, and also device class. This goes for all of the visible sensor data, configuration, diagnostic, etc. etc. And this is pretty much it. This is an awesome card that allows you that for some of the devices, don't go overboard because your UI will be simply too cluttered, but for some of the devices, you can show up everything that this device has in your UI. This is also awesome card for all of you content creators, because that way when you add device and showcase something in review, like me in the future, you can just use device card to display everything that this specific device contains. And yeah, I will be using that if I don't forget in the future videos. Once again, if you do end up installing this card or any previous card, don't forget to at least give the GitHub repository of the author a star to say thanks for creating such an awesome component. And this is it for this HACS video. I really do hope that you did find something useful here. And if you did like this video, don't forget to give this video thumbs up. It really means a lot to me, but as I always say, it also helps with the wacky YouTube algorithm. So go ahead and hit that like button. If you have any kind of a comment or a question, you can always post them down in a video comment section below. And before I wrap up the video, I want to say thanks to all those wonderful people that are supporting me and that have become YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, shared, liked or commented on my videos. Thank you, it really means a lot. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get something there. Last but not least, as always, you can send me super thanks and I will be super thankful for that. I will be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.